Hey, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for coming to my Flash Talk. My name's Stephen and I'm a marketer at LiveCode. And recently I decided to build an app. Now, before I show you that app, I'd like to take just a few moments to give you an insight as to why I decided to do that. As a marketer in a technology company, I believe it's becoming more and more crucial for me and people like me, not only to have deep knowledge of all of the categories that exist under the marketing domain, but to have a broad exposure to all the domains inside the business. So how is my product knowledge? Do I have an awareness of our engineering processes? How is my design knowledge? Having that exposure allows for better discussions to happen, and it allows for better decisions to be made. This is why if there's an opportunity for me to submit a pull request to GitHub, I'll get involved with that. And it's why I decided to build this app. Another reason, although related, I've been speaking to many customers recently, and I've wanted to find out about their experience with the product, the challenges that they've faced, and also the successes that they've had. The hypothesis here is that if we understand both the frictions and the aha moments that people are having inside the product, that will allow us to build a better experience, but it will also allow us to drive more people to the level that many of you are already at. Now, I want to speak to more customers, so if anybody listening would like to share their LiveCode experience with me, please ping me on the LiveCode Global Slack channel, and I'd love to set up a time to chat with you, so please do if you're interested. Now, this app, it was clear to me after speaking to customers that many people come to LiveCode with an idea in mind. They almost have a checklist of things that LiveCode has to be able to do in order for it to be the right tool for them. So I approach this in the same way. I'm a commuter. I commute in and out of Edinburgh most days. And so I decided to build an app that showed me the time the next train is at, what platform the train will be leaving from, and how many minutes I have to get to the train station. This lets me know if I'll be having a nice casual walk to the station, or if what happens more often than I'd like to, sprinting to catch the train before it leaves. Let me now switch over to my screen so I can show you where the app is at just now and the journey I took to get there. So this is my app as it exists today. A couple of things that were important to me and part of my checklist is that A, it looked good, it looked like a professional app. And B, I quite liked the idea of this one day becoming a web app. So it was important to me that it would scale nicely regardless of which device or screen size people were viewing it on. So let me just quickly show you that, because I was quite impressed with that side. If you see as I drag my window, it scales together all quite nicely. From the design point of view, it was all put together relatively quickly. I had a good idea of how I wanted the app to look, and I knew that I can drag on buttons and widgets and set colors of things, and really that side came together quite quickly. With the scaling scaling side to this, I did have to go to Google. I went to Google, I typed in scaling LiveCode stacks, and after searching around, a couple of forums, a couple of list posts, I found a really good answer. And really, once I understood that, it was pretty quick to put together. So if you notice here on my app, there's this oval which is a graphic, and there is this SVG widget inside that oval. Now, if I look quickly in my card script, I'll zoom into this so everybody can see it nicely. Now, I can't really confess to know exactly what the K padding and the star 14 is actually doing, but I do know that if I increase 14, then the padding increases along with it. So it didn't take much for me to tweak and get it exactly the way that I wanted it. But you'll see down here where it says set the right of graphic oval to the right of this card. So that puts the oval over on the right hand side, and it has the K padding *4. And if you see set the right of widget SVG, which is the little SVG that sits inside it, that's also to the right of the card, but it has the padding of 6, and that allows it to sit quite neatly inside the middle of the oval at all times. So I thought that was really quite neat, and it was something I found quite intuitive. It seemed quite straightforward to do. So that was a success. One thing I had to do was sign up to the National Rail developer service, and that again was quite an easy process. Within 5 or 10 minutes they gave me access tokens and access to the docs, and I discovered that their web service was a SOAP web API. I believe that's the right terminology. Anyway, again, it was a case of searching around LiveCode. I found some nice samples on our sample share sites, and also some nice forum posts. Let me see if I can show you this app in action just now, and then I'll show you how it connects to the web service. So when I click 2, what happens is it opens up a new card, and it pre-populates this field with all of the train stations in the UK. That part was relatively simple. I have this on one of my websites. It's a text file on one of my websites, and I ask it to display in this field when this page loads. One of the original, I was able to get the search working quite quickly. I think almost on my own assumptions, I was able to get the search working. However, it wasn't filtering. What it was doing is it was highlighting. So if I was to type in Glasgow, it was just highlighting Glasgow as I searched for it. It wasn't filtering the way I wanted it to. So again, I went to the forums, I went to the lists, I went to lessons, and I did find this little snippet. I think it was maybe on a forum somewhere, and it allowed the filtering to start happening, which was great. It was really nice. But another problem that existed with this was, if I was to say search for Glasgow, when I went away from this card, so if I click this, when I went away from this card and back again, it kept only Glasgow inside this list. So it wasn't clearing the search each time I came back. So I posted this in the forums, and that was wonderful. I got this response from a very friendly person that gave me, very friendly and very helpful person, who gave me not only the answer, they just told me how to do it, but they also explained to me how it was done. And I learned quite a bit from that. So let me just show you in action. If I was to type in Edinburgh and select Edinburgh, you can see it puts Edinburgh into this field here. Now let's say, now I don't live here anymore, but I'm originally from a city called Dundee. Let's say I wanted to go to Dundee. If I select that and I hit find trains and cross my fingers, okay, you can see that has actually performed the search. It's just not the nicest search. That train's delayed and it's got this -9 minutes, so that wasn't the best one to show. Let me see if I can bring you to Glasgow. There we go. Okay, so if I wanted to go to Glasgow, you can see the next train's at 23 minutes past 8, leaving from platform 20, and I have 14 minutes to get there. That's probably just about enough time for me to get to the station. There would be no running in order to get to the station to make that train. Now let me show you how all that comes together. I found out that I needed to have my header set. So here's my header. It's just a hidden field. I know that I can make custom properties, I believe, but I also believe that's actually faster to use custom properties. It gets the result faster, I believe. However, this was quite easy for me to do for my first version, and it seems to work. So let me just hide that header again. There's also the request itself. So the request is what includes my token, and it also says that I want to get the departure board. I want a number of rows, so the number of trains that I get returned to 2. it says that I'm going from Edinburgh to Glasgow Queen Street, and yeah, that's pretty much what it does. You'll see if I click this button here, it switches the GLQ and the EDB around. And all I'm asking this to do is take the last 3 characters from these fields and put them into line 10 and line 11. And there may be a better way to do it, but it seems to work quite nicely, which is pretty neat. You'll see if I change this to 1 instead of 2 and click Find Trains, you'll see there's no train data for the second train because it's not providing that. So I put that up to 2 and Find Trains. You can see that comes back again. Neat, works really well. It took me quite a bit of time to get this right. One of the biggest things, originally the response I was getting back was all in XML, and it was kind of neat. I was sending off for a request and I was getting a response, and that was great, but I obviously wanted it to look good. I came across Rev XML. There's a really nice lesson on parsing that data, and with a bit of persistence, and I believe, yes, I definitely posted to the forums again, I got another wonderful response that showed the answer to something that I was struggling with, which is wonderful. It unstuck me very, very fast. So thank you to the people in the forums that helped me with that. Let me just hide this request. So I'm actually quite pleased with how this has turned out and the experience that I've had. One thing that I've learned is that most of what I wanted to do, well, somebody else had already done it, and it was just a case of me finding that information, because people are always happy to share, or they're always posting on forums, and there's answers on forums, or there's wonderful lessons that have been created, and it is just a case of me finding that information. My experience may have been completely different if I wasn't able to find that information. And that's what I've taken away from this, is we have lots of information out there, really, really useful stuff. My entire app was built because of the information that exists. So improving how quickly we find that information, well, that's something that I'm going to take away, and that's something that I believe that we can always look to improve. So yes, that is for sure the lesson that I've taken from this. I'm going to make the code available to this app. I'll put it somewhere and I'll let people know that it exists. Maybe I can put it on the Slack channel. One thing to note is that in the request I have an access token that's specific to me, so I'll have to remove that. But as I said, getting that from National Rail developer API service, it was just a case of signing up, and within a few minutes I had that information. And that's it. It's been a wonderful experience, and I'm going to continue. I feel like I've learned quite a lot. I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable around the coding side in LiveCode, and I can't wait to get even better. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Here you have the floor. I'm really concerned now that the development team are going to poach Stephen from marketing, because he's got the bug. He's been coding all week and he's got really excited about it.
I am unbelievably addicted. It's quite ridiculous.
Okay, now I'm a bit conscious that we are rather out of time here. So if you guys do have questions for Stephen or Carlos, if you would head over to the Slack channel and drop them in there, I'm sure they'll be around for a while and you can ask questions. So let me just come back here. Oh, there we are. So you all got an even share of the screen to say goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
End this now, and I will be starting again. So go and look for your links to rejoin, and I'll see you all again in a few minutes. Bye.